I am the witch Rani. I stole death long ago.
Hey guys, Thingfishy here, and welcome to Build Guide number 26. So back in January, we broke patch 1.08, using glitches and exploits to make the most overpowered build as early as possible. And after spending 3 weeks making an RL1 video, I decided it was about time that we broke patch 1.09. So welcome to what is without doubt the most powerful build I've made in Elden Ring. All of the glitches that we're going to use are possible on all platforms and not ones that will make you lose your sanity. So to get set up, you can, well, you know the drill. You only need the somber smithing stones for this one. So we pick up the action here at Lena's Rise in Caelid. Jump onto the side of the bridge, realise that you don't have a weapon equipped, equip one, then bait the Knight's Cavalry into yeeting himself off. Then to Fort Farath to kill Grail with the Morning Star and the Bleed Grease, using a foul foot just as she dies. Now we need a bunch of crack pots for this run. So first, head to Carle at the Church of Ella to buy his 3, the crafting kit, and the missionary's cookbook. You also want to grab a bow and arrow. Then to the merchant just east of the Saints Bridge for another crack pot. Now to the minor Erdtree in the west of Caelid and onto this branch for another. Now we ride up the eastern coast of Liurnia and drop down the cliffs into the most wholesome place in the game to grab 3 more. Head to the Boil Prawn Shack and ride southwest into the village of the Albinurics to grab some mushrooms. There's a bunch that respawn in the area around this grace, and as much as I have an allergy to farming, it is worth spending 5 minutes here to get as many as you can. The more you have, the less stressful the next bit will be. Now to the Third Church of Marika and south into the Mistwood to the minor Erdtree. We're here for the tarnished golden sunflower. There's a dozen of them that respawn around this tree, so it's again worth taking 5 minutes to farm as many as you can. Now head to the Church of the Plague in Caelid and ride south towards this mound. We're here to kill the Death Bird for our main weapon, the Death's Poker. Now there's dozens of ways of cheesing this guy, but I wanted one that would be as consistent and as completely idiot-proof as possible. When you're on the mound, craft all of the holy water pots you can and make sure you have a bow and some arrows equipped. We're not actually going to use them, they're just here as a visual indicator. Line up the Deathbird's body with the arrows on your back, then throw a sleep pot. This will hit him every time. I suppose you could just use your character's waist here too, so maybe the bow and arrows are overkill. Whenever the bird starts doing something, back away and let him return to idle. Now if you're a bit ham-fisted like me, you'll probably miss a few and run out of pots. In this case, run over to the part of the mound that overlooks Radahn's arena. You'll lose aggro here and can craft more pots. carry on lobbing pots till the bird is dead, and grab our weapon for the run. Next we head back to Liurnia and towards the minor Tree to kill the tree avatar here. And for all the stuff I've heard about this weapon, it really doesn't seem that great. With a +6, I should be utterly bullying this guy. Perhaps I picked the wrong weapon for this run. Now back to Weeping Peninsula and to the Tower of Return. Up to the top to get teleported to Lane Dell. We're here to use the Ruptured Tier skip for early access into the capital. Once again, Ryza's very comprehensive guide to this skip is in the description. Walk out onto this invisible bit of collision, drink your physic and walk off as your character raises their hand. Then while falling, time an R1 for when you hit the ground. Send the lift back up and run through the capital to the West Rampart, Grace. From there, make your way down to the West Avenue balcony. And finally, from this, Grace, jump across the rooftops and head into the sewers. Across all the pipes and jump down to grab a somber 7 by the lobsters. Now head to the lift in the Mistwood and down into the Black Reach. Ride to the Seafra River and then northeast to this broken pillar. Use the teleporter on top and ride around the edge of the lake to grab Marika Scar Seal from under the waterfall. We're also going to do Celovus's questline a bit later, so head to the Castle Morn Rampart and jump up the Spirit Spring behind it to grab the Starlight Shards. Then to Argyll Lake South in Limgrave to do the same thing. And finally, up to the Outers Plateau to drop down into this little clearing to grab the Amber Starlight. Warp to Iji and level up the Death's Poker to +9. While you're here, jump down and head north along the wall to grab the Intelligence tier. And to join it in our Physic Flask, head to the other minor tree in Liurnia and kill the Avatar for the Magic Shrouding tier. Now to Caria Manor. Run all the way through and up to Loretta. Now we have a +9 weapon, so Loretta really isn't much of a threat. But this is a break video, so run over to this corner and quit out against the wall. When you load back in, the game doesn't realise you're still in the arena, and Loretta's AI is completely disabled. So the reason we're here is to grab some exquisite fashion much earlier than we should be able to, in the form of the Snow Witch set. You can get this early by doing a series of jumps from this rock. First jump onto this ruin, then onto this tree, then immediately onto this tree. Alright, let's try that again. Building, first tree, second tree. Building, first tree, second. Alright, bear with me. Okay, so I tried this skip for 45 minutes straight and never got it once. I'm certain it's still possible on current patch, but even trying it using precise lineups with the telescope didn't work. So to prevent everyone from losing their sanity, we won't use this one. If you're on PC and are familiar with the zip glitch, getting here is quite easy. But don't worry, console players, we won't use this one either. I have been working on an entire zip glitch video for about the last 2 months, and you'll be seeing that as soon as I figure out a way of finishing it. So we can't do the beginning of the game with the Snow Witch set. Unless we did something silly like fighting Radahn before Margit. So, Radahn. And as so far this weapon had failed to impress me with its standard attacks, I thought I'd try the Ghost Flame weapon art. Yeah, that works. Head down into Nokron, cheese the Mimic, and grab the Fingerslayer blade. Now back to Rani's Rise to speak to her and the boys, then give her the Fingerslayer blade. This will open up Renna's Rise so we can finally grab our fashion. Now head down to check out Seluvis's creepy puppet dungeon. And then over to speak to him in his rise. And Seluvis dies when we give Rani the Fingerslayer blade. I'm so fucking good at this. Okay, so before you get the Fingerslayer blade, speak to Seluvis, then back to the round table to give Gideon the potion. Then back to Seluvis, buy Let Me Solo Her, then the other puppet, and reload the area 3 times to get the magic scorpion charm. Then go grab the blade, pick up your fashion, and head to Liurnia, up to the top of the Carian study hall to get the Stargazer heirloom. And for the final part of our setup, go to the Walking Mausoleum in Weeping to duplicate Radahn's remembrance. You don't have to use it yet though. So as we're now at level 47 with a +9 weapon, I think we are finally ready to take on Margit. The Death's Poker has 3 options for its weapon art. The initial cast on its own, the follow-up Heavy, which deals an immense amount of damage from that explosion, and the follow-up Light Attack, which leaves a trail of Ghost Flame on the floor. This will proc Frost all the time an enemy stands in it. For Godric, 2 Ghost Flame Heavies will do phase 1, and then another for phase 2. Now I know what you're thinking, but Thingfishy, this damage sucks. Can't we do more? I agree, and yes we can. Head to the Rose Church in Liurnia to speak to Vare. Do the 3 invasions, or if you have far too many mods on your game to even consider going online, you can go kill Magnus. For the Maiden's Blood, you can head into the Frenzied Church in Liurnia, or if you're in a rush and think sleeping is overrated, you can kill Irina in Weeping. Let Vare do his funky thing with your finger, and use the Pure Blood Knight's medal to get to Mogwin's Palace. First up on the agenda, the Ancient Somber. So chuck something at these lot and run behind them to loot it from the chest. Head up to Moog's Arena, activate the fight and quit out immediately. Then head back down the lift to follow Possum's route for an early Moog cheese. Now, if you do die at any point during this, you will have to reactivate the fight again before attempting the rest of the route. Head all the way across to this hole and double jump into it. While you're falling, spam your weapon. After a minute or so, Moog will despawn and you'll get the message saying he's dead, at which point you can open your map and warp out to a Grace. So after all of this, my in-game time was about 3 hours, but I reckon I'd only actually been playing about 90 minutes or so. We have a max level weapon, and we have enough runes to level our main damage stat to max. Obviously, this would work with any build you like. I kinda want to try this with a Royal Knights Resolve Giant Crusher build. If you'd like to see that, please let me know in the comments, as I'd really love an excuse. Now that 2 demigods are dead, we can head back to Enya in the round table to grab our 3rd pouch, and to fill it, we can go to the Lux ruins in the Outmost Plateau to kill the demi-human queen for the ritual sword talisman. This fight is really complicated, so the best strategy is to now to Volcano Manor for Noble. Now, as much as our damage is ridiculous, we're super low on health, so don't take this fight for granted. He's still really dangerous. For any fight that you want to play safe on this build, just use that very first part of the weapon art. As you can see here, it's very quick and it kills Noble in 4 casts. Head through the rest of the Honestly, only I could follow an RL1 run by making a build that has less health than an RL1 character. Head through the dungeon all the way to Rykard. Standard speedrun strats here. Lance in the right hand, Serpent Hunter in the left, and spam crouching pokes for both faces. Head back to Altus for the Lanedale Draconic. And for this guy, I thought I'd see how the light Ghost Flame attack works. From the West Avenue Balcony Grace, head into the avenue to absolutely bully the tree avatar for the Lord's Room. For Godfrey, the safe play is again just using that very first part of the weapon art. There's enough time to get it in most of the openings in this fight, and as you can see, the damage is ridiculous. And low health Morgott is usually a major problem, but not on this build. The heavy attack is much easier to squeeze into gaps here, but the light attack will do more damage if you can do it before one of his long animations. Ride through the mountaintops all the way to Fire Giant. Now, I've always thought that Pest Threads against Fire Giant couldn't possibly be beaten in terms of speed, but this comes pretty close. Head through Farum all the way to the duo. There's nothing to say about this one. Use the light Ghost Flame attack and it's one of the safest Godskin fights possible. If you haven't already, head back to Radahn's arena to speak to our main man. Then speak to him again in Mount Gelmir. Run up to the Stone Sword Keygate and through it to speak to him on the roof. Do a little sparring with him, and take the shard he hands you while he tells you he's heading back to the Church of Vows to chill with Miriel. Now we all know the deal with the Farum Draconic. Whatever works for the first one definitely won't work for him due to the massive health bar. Never mind, he's absolutely fine. For Beast, there is a really cool strat that you can do with this weapon. Walk in and wait until just after he starts running at you. Then cast the Ghost Flame light attack and tank his stab. Then throw a sleep pot at him instead of healing, because you're an absolute idiot. For Malekith, the Ghost Flame heavies do massive damage and are great for punishing those slow 1-2s. You only need 2 of these to kill him. Now you might think that Gideon would be purely a formality on this run, but this weapon actually does too much damage to be useful for him. The initial attack does so much immediate damage that he's rolling away before you can follow up. Happily though, the heavy Ghost Flame will knock him flying, so chase him around with this for a bit and you'll be absolutely fine. For Godfrey, exactly the same strats as the first one, although if you're quick and get the timing right, you could take advantage of that long stomp attack by casting Ghost Flame under him as he starts it. And for Horalu, run in and hit Radagon with a light Ghost Flame. Dodge his next attack and hit him with a heavy. Then deal with that last smidge however you want. Run up to Elden Beast and hit him with a light Ghost Flame. Try to aim it slightly diagonally so he'll back up into it. Then hit him with a heavy for maximum damage. Dodge the ring attack, then all we have to do is figure out how we're going to dodge Elden Stars. And the answer to that with this build is what Elden Stars? Head to Farum for Placid, and I'm just going to let this one play. Run into Niall's arena and lock onto him. Then put the right summon between you and cast a light Ghost Flame. Deal with the other summon with a backstab and initial Ghost Flame attack. Then get Niall's health down to 80% any way you like. All you have to do now is wait for that big tornado. Ride through the snowfield all the way to Ordner Town. Once again, I'm using Ordner Skip. Onto this pillar, line your compass up to the right of this notch. Then do 2 jumps with the direction order 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock. For Loretta, I went with a light Ghost Flame attack whenever I got the chance. As always, those big blue combos are the perfect opportunity for these. Looking back at this footage, I reckon the heavies might have been a little better here due to how much she moves around. But either way, this fight is not going to trouble you. Now, as we saw in the Gideon fight, the Ghost Flame heavy attack will knock humanoid enemies flying and can effectively stun lock them. So I actually reckon you could completely stun lock Melania through both phases if she gave you the perfect RNG. If however you want to take a safer approach, just go for Ghost Flames after the jumping attack or after a successful riposte. Doing this fight after fighting her last week on RR1 honestly felt like I had cheats on. And while you watch the rest of this fight, it's probably a good time for me to admit something about the damage in this run. Back when I fought Rykard, I swapped to the Strength Physic from the Int Physic to use the Lance. And just before I did this Melania fight, I realised that I still had the Strength Physic equipped. So this combined with the fact that I also left 12% damage on the table by not wearing the Spellblade set on this build, means that the damage you've seen in this video is probably only 80% of this build's actual potential, which without any shadow of a doubt makes it the strongest build I have ever made in Elden Ring. The Death's Poker and Ghost Flame Ignition is absolutely insane. Now, because of the way that leveling works in Elden Ring, if we don't use Melania's runes here, we find ourselves only 1 level higher than we would have been if we hadn't killed Mohg earlier on. And as I really wanted to see what this build would do against him, with the power of Cheat Engine, I brought him back to show you probably the most insane Mohg fight I've had in the game. And that's it. How to get overpowered early and annihilate everything. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you want to see next in the comments. As always, thanks for watching. See you soon.